The 2025 season didn't unfold exactly the way Caitlin Clark imagined, but somehow she still owned it. Even in a limited number of games, she gave fans moments that will be replayed for decades. Pure WNBA history. But it wasn't just about her logo threes. It was the story surrounding them, the drama, the grit, and the off-court moves that turned her from a basketball superstar into a full-fledged cultural icon. And of course, it drove her critics absolutely crazy. So here they are, Caitlin Clark's top 10 moments of 2025. As we go through them, drop your favorite in the comments. January 18th, the Swift game. Some might not rank this as a top 10 basketball moment, but it absolutely deserves a spot. This was where the tone for 2025 was set. After her rookie season ended, fans had gone the longest stretch yet without seeing Caitlin on the court. Some people even said the Clark effect was starting to fade. But then, out of nowhere, she's spotted at a Kansas City Chiefs game, sitting right next to Taylor Swift. And this wasn't just a photo op or a polite handshake. They actually hung out, laughing, talking, and having a genuinely good time. The internet lost its mind. For a full week, that was the only thing anyone talked about. The craziest part? It happened the same week the new player run league Unrivaled officially launched, the very one Caitlin turned down. And guess which story stole the spotlight? Caitlin Clark did, without even touching a basketball. Just by showing up at a football game, she reminded everyone that Clark Mania wasn't slowing down, it was only getting bigger. February 2nd, Hawkeye history. Inside a packed Carver Hawkeye Arena with over 15,000 fans, Iowa officially retired Caitlin Clark's iconic number 22 jersey. She's not the first Hawkeye to have that honor, but this moment had to make the list. It was the final exclamation mark on what many call the most legendary college career in women's basketball. 2 national championship runs, countless record-breaking performances, and enough milestones to fill a museum. It reminded everyone why 18.9 million people tuned in to her 2024 March Madness final, and why she still commands attention wherever she goes, even at an NFL game. This ceremony wasn't just about celebrating the past, it was a bridge to the next chapter. Caitlin Clark's legacy at Iowa didn't just elevate a program, it transformed women's basketball, and its impact is still being felt in the WNBA and beyond.
Give it up for the Fever, we're playing a game right here, baby. Woo! We're coming to town. You better save up, because I bet it's going to be pretty expensive, but...
Caitlin had no idea just how right she was, because what happened next in that very arena became the most unforgettable moment of her pro career so far. May 4th. The Brazilian long bomb. By the time May rolled around, Clark fever was at an all-time high. Fans were starving for basketball, especially anything with Caitlin Clark's name on it. So when news broke that the Indiana Fever would play a preseason game at Carver Hawkeye Arena, the excitement exploded. It didn't even matter that the opponent was Team Brazil, a squad most casual fans couldn't name a single player from. Tickets vanished instantly, faster than campaign promises during election season. For that week, it was the hardest ticket to get in Iowa, maybe even in the whole country. Then ESPN stepped in and made it official. They were broadcasting the game nationally. And let's be real, you can probably count on one hand how many times that's ever happened for a WNBA preseason matchup. When game day came and the arena filled to the brim, Caitlin Clark didn't just show up, she delivered. Every fan in that building got their money's worth and then some. She pulled up from way beyond her logo, let it fly, and the entire sports world went crazy. It wasn't just a deep three, it was a message, a reminder of who she is and why Caitlin Clark is the face of women's basketball. She has that flair for the dramatic, that instinct for big moments, and every time the lights shine brightest, she delivers. Over 1.3 million people tuned in to watch yet another iconic Caitlin Clark moment, and believe it or not, that was just the warm-up for what was coming next. May 17th, Skyfall, Game 1 against the Chicago Sky. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. The matchup WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert loved so much she scheduled it 5 times, but she had no idea that decision would end up sparking the Fever's playoff run, because this game, like every clash between these two, was a complete showcase. Caitlin Clark, playing her first real game in over half a year, delivered a statement performance. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 blocks, and 2 steals. A triple-double masterpiece in her return game, and the the numbers? Unreal. Over 2.7 million viewers tuned in on ABC, making it the most watched regular season WNBA game in 25 years. But it also revealed something ugly. The league still hadn't learned a thing. After Angel Reese shoved a Fever player fighting for a rebound, Caitlin responded with a hard foul the next trip down. Angel popped up, ready for confrontation, and honestly, that's part of the game. Emotions run high. The problem wasn't what happened on the court, it was everything that followed. The backlash was instant. The Clark hate reached new heights. Fans accused her of stat padding the triple-double just so Barstool's Dave Portnoy could win a bet. Then came the league's so-called hate speech investigation, triggered by what many believe were fake Flight Reacts audio clips blasted over the arena speakers. Even the Sky's own coach admitted he found out about it the same time everyone else did, and it only got worse. People were actually calling for the All-Star game to be moved out of Indianapolis, claiming it was unsafe for players. The nastiest comments were aimed at Fever players and fans online, and the league completely silent. Another slap in the face to the people truly building women's basketball, and the hits didn't stop there. May 28th, the first injury. After a few quieter games, the news broke. Caitlin Clark was out with a quad strain. It felt unreal. She had never missed time before. Not in college, not in the pros. She'd taken every hit, every shove, every foul, and kept getting up. She'd seemed untouchable. Until now. Sure, it doesn't sound like a top 10 moment on paper, but this was one that changed everything. What came next was the league's FAFO moment. The point where the carefully crafted illusion finally shattered. That illusion that Caitlin Clark's presence didn't change everything, but the second she stepped off the floor, reality hit hard. And the numbers didn't lie. Ticket prices dropped overnight. TV ratings collapsed by 55%. The buzz was gone. The energy? Gone. It was a brutal wake-up call. Her absence didn't just leave an empty space. It revealed just how much of the WNBA's foundation was built on her shoulders. This was supposed to be the moment of truth, the point where the league realized you protect the player who's building your entire future, because what came after that injury drove that message home louder than ever. June 14th, the comeback. The wait was finally over. Caitlin Clark was back, and she didn't return against a struggling team. She came back facing the undefeated New York Liberty, sitting at 9-0. And what followed was the most commanding performance of her career. Clark went off for 32 points, drilling 7 of 10 from deep, but it was one particular stretch that will live forever. 38 seconds, 3 deep bombs, and a tied game suddenly turned into a 102-88 blowout. ABC pulled in a peak of 2.8 million viewers, making it the third most watched WNBA game ever on the network. This was the night Caitlin Clark erased all doubt. She is the league. Even Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello couldn't help but grin on the sidelines, clapping as the crowd erupted. It was a pure, defining moment, the kind of moment that grows the game overnight. But in true WNBA fashion, the league somehow found a way to ruin it. June 17th, sundown. Just 3 days later, the Fever faced the Connecticut Sun, a scrappy, hard-nosed team known for their physical play. But this time, they took it way too far. Midway through the second quarter, Caitlin took a swipe to the eye from her old college rival, JC Sheldon. Moments later, forward Marina Mabry leveled her with a full body check that sent her crashing to the floor. No ejections, not even a technical. Classic WNBA officiating. But what happened next turned this into a top 10 moment because it woke the beast. Sophie Cunningham, fed up with weeks of cheap shots and ignored fouls, decided she'd had enough. Late in the game, when JC Sheldon drove to the basket, Sophie slammed her to the hardwood, and when Sheldon got up, Sophie put her in a headlock, and that's when fans learned the truth. Sophie Cunningham is a black belt, instant legend status. Her jersey sold out in minutes. Her following exploded by millions, because finally, someone stood up for Caitlin Clark. Someone fought back against the non-stop targeting the league refused to stop. And that moment might end up changing the WNBA more than any highlight ever could. After that game, Sophie Cunningham didn't stay quiet. She went nuclear. She launched her own podcast, and week after week, she tore into the league and the officials, refusing to bite her tongue no matter how many fines came her way. She called out WNBA leadership by name, even taking direct shots at Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. It was raw. It was fearless. And honestly, it was long overdue. Maybe, just maybe, when more players and coaches finally find their voice, we'll look back at this moment as the spark spark that started real change. The moment that gave fans a reason to believe in the league again. July 1st, Commissioner's Cup triumph. Not too long after the chaos in Connecticut, Caitlin Clark was sidelined again, missing both the All-Star game and the Commissioner's Cup final against the Minnesota Lynx. Most people wrote the Indiana Fever off immediately. No Clark, no chance. But what happened next shocked the entire league. On July 1st, without their superstar, the Fever pulled off the impossible, crushing the Lynx 74-59 to win the Commissioner's Cup. And despite what the critics say, this victory belonged to Caitlin too, because without her 32-point explosion against the undefeated Liberty weeks earlier, Indiana wouldn't have even made it to the final. Sure, it's an in-season tournament, but with $500,000 in prize money on the line for players earning less than most small-town managers, this win mattered. And for Caitlin, even watching from the bench, it was absolutely a top 10 moment. It was the spark that proved this team was for real, a squad capable of shocking the WNBA again and again. By the end of the year, the Fever clawed their way to within one game of the finals, despite half their roster living in the trainer's room. If you're a Caitlin Clark fan, you've got every reason to be excited, because next season, when this team's fully healthy and battle-tested, good luck to the rest of the league. August 25th, Rise of the Caitlin Clark Empire. Even while Caitlin wasn't playing, her brand just kept rising. On August 25th, Nike finally unveiled her signature logo, a moment fans had been begging for and honestly wondering what took so long. Let's be real, we all know Nike had some business to clean up first. Then came August 26th at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The crowd was electric. Thousands of fans wore "Caitlin was here" shirts, turning the arena into a sea of white. It was more than merch, it was a movement. This was the celebration she'd earned. Long overdue, but perfectly timed. The official beginning of a brand that's about to take over the world. And that global takeover? It's already in motion. October 2nd, the announcement. In her season-ending press conference, Caitlin gave fans exactly what they wanted to hear. She's not done. She confirmed her plan to return to competitive play before next season, and even dropped a little hint about when we'll see her back on the court. The message was clear. The Caitlin Clark Empire isn't slowing down. It's just getting started.
With respect to your recovery, looking down the line, have you explored opportunities maybe to play 5-on-5 during the offseason as part of kind of that ramp up so that you're ready for next season and have played actual basketball before things start up again in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always explore every opportunity, and I haven't made any decisions, and I don't know, what that's necessarily going to look like for me. Like I said, there's some USA basketball stuff that is probably my top priority right now that I need to prepare for, and I think that will help me prepare for next season too.
She didn't guarantee anything, but just 5 days later, it became official. USA Basketball announced that Caitlin Clark had been selected for the 2026 FIBA World Cup qualifier roster. And honestly, it felt like a full circle moment. The 2025 season started with Caitlin making international waves, torching Brazil in that preseason showdown at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Now she's set to begin 2026 the same way, back on the global stage. But this time, she's not representing Iowa. She's not even representing Indiana. She's representing the United States of America. And she'll be doing it with the weight and power of her global brand behind her. No matter how messy this WNBA season got, the officiating drama, the media chaos, the questionable leadership, everyone knows one thing: Caitlin Clark will be back. And when she returns, the whole world will be watching. Because even after the injuries, the noise, and all the controversy, the biggest name in basketball still wears number 22, and that's not changing in 2026. If you made it this far, drop a W in the comments, because real ones stay till the end.